Hoops, NJCAA women's basketball. My co-host Kenya Landers. I'm Dan Olson. We're delighted to have you with us today, and we're going to get right into it. We're going to talk some rewind. We've been off for the last week due to the Thanksgiving break. A lot of good games. We're going to target on a certain number of them and some highlights of those players and highlight those individuals that really stuck out. The first game that we want to touch base with is I was at Dodge City and watched Hutchinson come into Dodge City. And Kenya, as we've talked about before, guard play is so prevalent in basketball, and we're going to really dwell on that here today with some really good guard play that have highlighted these games. And you were on point with that from day one. It's you win or you lose mainly through those good guards that you have on your team. So and that was no different with Hutch and in Dodge. We've talked about before the backcourt of Dodge City with the Paris duo, Paris Atkins and Paris Santa Catarina. And Katarina was really good against Hutch.
Yeah.
I think she was maybe a 20-plus point per score in that game. Really controlled the tempo off the dribble, hitting threes. Dodge had the game the whole way up until the end. But again, Journey Armstead, kind of a middle-of-the-road player for Hutch that doesn't do a lot of highlight stuff, but just gets it done, came through. Kiki Smith, a freshman from Kansas, had 25 that day. And, as you probably walk down to the stretch of the end of the game, as you were both a player and a coach, Hutch knew how to get it done.
Yeah. I mean, when you got solid guard play, Dan, like, as long as there's time left, you got a chance to win. Exactly. Because, Dodge City, they were rolling. And then, players come up and they make plays. Just changing the pace and creating points off of turnovers. And just controlling the game.
Making free throws.
Making free throws. 72-70 is a dogfight. Like, that is back and forth, and it's almost like, okay, who has the ball last? And those are the kind of games that you want to see right now, because that's just going to prepare all the teams for what they're trying to do towards the end of the season. So there's a lot of refining going on right now, and kids are figuring it out and finding their way and really starting to settle in.
Yeah. That band was popping too at Dodge. I mean, I had a good crowd there for prior to Thanksgiving. I don't think the kids were on campus. They had a men's game afterward as well, but that place was really a good atmosphere for some good JUCO basketball.
Nice.
Colin, who we're going to be speaking with, and Jeff Allen here today, they were undefeated for the week and they're undefeated for the year. As is Northwest Florida State. Our friends at Trinity Valley went 3-0 this past week too.
Getting it done.
Some way. And Odessa was 4-0.
Yep.
And Chipola took their first loss of the year. They lost at Northeast Mississippi, I think, in a neutral game. But then since bounced back. But I did watch Trinity Valley out in Midland at the Midland NIT. And they've gone down with another injury with their player, Kiera Sanderlin, who's a transfer in. So they're down to 7 players. But I'll tell you what, those 7 players, they play hard.
Yep.
And she's got some good guard. They're all guards. She's throwing guards out there, and they're just going.
Yep.
And they're going to be an interesting read as time moves on. They can sustain their conditioning, which they're going to have to, because you got to be in great shape to keep playing like they're doing,
Yep.
And they we'll touch back with that on Trinity Valley as we move forward in the show. But yeah, I was really impressed with them. And Hill as well. Hill was out there. Hill plays fast. They got no worry about shot selection. They're just going, but they're fun to watch. CCBC Essex, we talked about them the last show.
Yeah.
Division II, they fell a little bit in the rankings for obvious reasons. They went 0-3. They went to Texas, of course, And as we'll talk about with Jeff Allen, Texas JUCO basketball is no joke. And they tasted that. They got beat by Angelina. They got beat by, I think, McLennan and then Tyler. And but I credit Mike Sini, the coach at Essex, for at least seeking out some really good competition during the Thanksgiving break, giving his team some reason to compete,
Absolutely.
And they were in the games, so I mean, he's got strength in his backcourt. But yeah, he fell to defeat, but you learn from those mistakes. It's not what you do now, it's at the end, right?
That's exactly right. And he's smart to do that, like losing games right now are going to win games for you later. And so, if I'm in his situation, I'm doing the same thing. So kudos to him, man.
Yep, I agree. Pearl River, they keep it rolling. They beat Shelton State 60-45 the other day. They've got a good guard that's a transfer in from Wright State, girl named Taylor Johnson Matthews. She's just one of these bigger, stronger guards, kind of a 3-level scorer, can rebound it. She put up a double-double against Shelton. Shelton's still trying to figure it out, but you know what? She doesn't duck anybody either. Now, she'll play everybody she can play because she knows what she'll get at the end. So, we're going to keep an eye on Shelton as well. But as I stated from, I think, the first show, Pearl River is going to be somebody that people are going to have to really respect when it gets down to February.
Yep.
Because I think they're going to really be a tough matchup for people. They got depth in positions. They got good guard play, and they got some strength in the front court, So, but of course, Celia Rivera, the top player in the country at Northwest Florida State, she's kept them undefeated. She just keeps on rolling. But the guard play of Northwest, they beat South Plains 62-48 the other day. Their guard play combined for 38 of their 62 points.
Dan, I've watched Northwest Florida online 3 times. I am trying to find a weak spot, and I cannot find one.
Yeah.
Like I'm trying to pick it apart. Like I'm trying to figure out, okay, where can somebody catch them slipping? Where can somebody take advantage? Where can somebody, they are legit. Like they play hard, they play defense, their guard play, their post players finish, they run the floor. It is a total package. And you can tell by watching them play that every day their practices are hard as hell.
Might be harder than the games,
Yeah, the games are easy, right? Yeah. Like games, by the time they get to the games, they're like, thank God, this is easy compared to practice. But it is so fun to watch them play. Like just
I agree. I agree. Let's go back to Trinity Valley here for a minute. Okay. They got a player on their team named Liddy Mwamba. She's a sophomore. Relative obscurity a year ago, got limited minutes from at least when I watched them play. All right. Like a 5'11", 6-foot guard, wherever you want to play her. But this girl's putting up numbers. She is delivering against good competition. They beat 3 Rivers by 2. And, Liddy's putting up like 27 on Hill, gets on the glass, runs, just defends, can virtually defend anybody on the floor. I don't know if Trinity's makeup of their team when they started to now recognized the fact that this kid, Liddy, is really, wow, I think she's a really special player. I love watching her play.
Yeah.
And they got a good little guard backcourt too. They look, I don't have to tell you, there's something in the water there in Athens, Texas, okay? Because they play with a chip on their shoulder, with a confidence level that you don't see from a lot of teams.
Yeah.
And here they are at 7 players. And look, I'm sure there were a lot of people writing them off, you know, and we still got a ways to go. But Precious Ivy's worked some magic so far.
She is. And you know what's really interesting about Liddy is she's taking advantage of an opportunity. You know, injuries happen, getting more playing time than you had been. Do what you're gonna do, you know. And then when you look at it too, playing at the Valley, you walk in there and you see all those banners and you see the expectations and you see all the history, and you don't want to be that team. You don't want to be that team that doesn't get it done. You don't want to be that team that doesn't hang a banner. And so that is, and you know, some people call it pressure. I call it comes with the territory. When you go to the Valley, you know what the expectations are. Just like some of our other premier teams in the country. So, you know, Precious being down to 7 players right now, they're going to figure it out. I mean, they're going to figure out how to make it work. They're going to figure out how to still be able to play the Valley way while preserving some legs and getting some things done. But I'll be interested to see where they are sitting about the end of January.
Yeah. That's something that I'm really looking forward and monitoring how they move forward here, you know, among a lot of other teams. But in particular, they really caught my eye last week when I was out in Midland, seeing them play. Man, they play hard, you know. I think the only problem they may run into is the conditioning level of playing so many games in a short period of time. That may be their only issue that they may have to encounter, other than, you know, doing the normal thing of their game, you know. But
right. Well, the good thing about that is that part of the season is about to wind down. You know, I mean, we're already almost to December. They'll be going on Christmas break soon, and hopefully we can get they can get some players back and can just slowly start to, you know, get back in their groove, you know, after Christmas break. And the thing is, so if you've noticed, Trinity Valley typically plays very well in Midland. And if you notice, the Midland tournament always falls on the anniversary of Kurt Bucky and Miranda Cerna's death. So when the Valley plays in that tournament, they are motivated. That's a special time for the team, for the program, for the players, for the coaches. Because I mean, those players don't know those coaches, but I know that those players are educating those kids about those coaches, you know? And so they got something to play for on that weekend. Because I remember when they passed away, we were in the Midland tournament getting ready to play for the championship. And I mean, I was spent. I had nothing to give my team after I heard that news. And those girls carried me from start to finish. And it's one of the best memories that I have of JUCO ball. But, you know, that's a tournament that I feel like we're always going to perform well in.
Yeah, good point. That's good stuff. That's good stuff. When we come back, we're going to talk upload. We're going to have a kind of a synopsis of what we can see ahead for this week ahead in JUCO women's basketball.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
upload NJCAA Hot Hoops with Kenya Landers and Dan Olson. We're delighted to have you back with us. Want to touch base with you a little bit about the Division II top two teams. We don't speak a lot of them, but we will in future shows ahead.
Everybody gets love. All the JUCO gets love. JUCO life.
JUCO life. JUCO life. I love it. I gotta have one of those.
I got you.
Kirkwood leads the Division II JUCO poll. That's no surprise.
Right.
Kim Mule, longtime coach there at Kirkwood. The no-nonsense Kim Mule has won multiple national championships based in Cedar Rapids, Iowa. They're undefeated thus far. He has them rolling. His system is in place. And he could very well run the table. You know, it doesn't surprise me that he's number one right now. And but following him, Johnson County out of Overland Park, Ben Conrad, the head coach there at Johnson County, has won a national championship there before, has a solid team, same thing, systematic, you know, figuring things out, play by play, team by team. Two of the better teams in the country in Division II JUCO. No surprise that they're at the top of the poll.
Yep, they need to play each other stacked.
Yeah, love to see that during the season. Exactly, you know.
Yeah.
But you know, they're no different than anybody else. I mean, you know, I know that there's the Division II JUCO league in Kansas that's apart from the Division I, but you know, basketball's basketball. They're capable of competing on a national Division I scale. There's no difference. It's just other than scholarship limits, I believe, you know.
Right.
So yeah, we'll keep an eye on both of those teams. And you know, we've got Morton. It was a kind of an obscure team up until about 2 years ago. And then they hit on the national scene. They had some, again, good guard play. And they've lost both of those guards, but you know, Morton will figure it out as they continue to climb the poll too. I know they're inside the top 10. So, but as for the Division I top 25, we've got number 9 Pearl playing at number 5 Gulf Coast. That's a good national implications team, a game coming up. And we've also got McLennan. They're number 4 this week. They've really made a jump. And you know, Bill Brock, former coach at Baylor, at Grayson back in the day, now at Tarleton State. But he did not leave the cupboard bare there at McLennan when he was there for a year. And they picked it up and they're moving on, you know. So, but they play number 6 New Mexico. As I have alluded to before, New Mexico's got a dynamite front court player in Panaya Davis, a 6'6" forward. No, everybody's recruiting this kid. An Aussie, she's from way over in Perth, Australia, but skilled, size. That's what everybody wants on the Power 5 scale. But he's also got a really talented guard in Cassia Antonio. African descent, came over here late and has really impacted his backcourt. It's one of the consistent performers for Austin Mefford so far at New Mexico. So that'll be a good game. And then McLennan turns around, plays number 17 Odessa. Odessa has started to find themselves now on the national landscape. No stranger to that. Francois Bidel won the national title at Tallahassee before moving over to Odessa. He's got some
Dr. Francois DeBille.
Excuse me. Yeah. An author, I might add.
An author, that's right.
Yeah. I've got a book. I got a signed book. And he's got some front court play, but he's got a good guard there that's putting up numbers that just delivers off the dribble, hits the three, has got good size. Ivana Krajina, and a sophomore there at Odessa. She's really helping carry the load for him thus far at Odessa. And like I alluded to earlier, she's, you know, they're 4-0 for the week, you know, so and keep it rolling in Odessa. And but then we've got unranked Jones. They're going into the depths of Trinity Valley.
Dun,
And
dun, dun.
Trinity's ranked 10 this week. So Jones better be ready. And we'll see what happens there. But this is going to be a great test for Jones. And I know that they've had some good games earlier thus far in the season, but on the road in Athens, Texas, they'll be having to play their A game for sure.
Yep.
And then Pearl, number 9 in the country this week. As we've talked about, Pearl with that solid, depth-ridden team in the front and backcourt, they're going to play number 1 Northwest Florida State. So that will be a test for Pearl. But
Pearl's got a week. Pearl's got a week.
Strong basketball, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what happens here as we move on,
I like it.
And that's what it's all about. Playing these games, I don't know, when I coached, it was more difficult to play those games where you were winning by 50. Everybody's worried about playing time, right? Versus those tight games, people are on it. You're on it. You're focused, right? And so that's I think what we're going to get this week.
Yeah, this time of year, it's a hard time because you don't, the kids are starting to miss their families. So you got to try to keep them, focused, and you don't want them to get bored. Right. So, getting out, playing those tough teams. And then when you play the tough teams, you got good film. You got great film to watch. You can show the kids where, hey, we're doing all right, but we can get better here, here, and here. And they can see themselves. I mean, when you're beating people by 40, what are you going to show them on the film? That's hard to watch, but just continuing to play those close games, learning how to win close games in tough situations are going to be just so key for them in February.
All right. Let me ask you a question in respect to when you were coaching. You're at this time of the year, and you kind of briefly hit on that with the kids' mental state. They're post Thanksgiving. They know Christmas is coming. I mean, it's kind of a busy time of the year. How would you keep your team focused? Is there anything you did unusually different, or what was it, a day-to-day thing? What was it?
Well, you always just got to check the temperature of your team, right? The more experienced teams, if we can say that, in JUCO, but the ones that have been back or this is their second stop and they kind of know what to expect, those teams can probably handle this time of year a little better. But one thing that you got to do this time of year is you got to spend a lot of time together outside of the court, because you're right. Like, I mean, we got kids that didn't get to go home for Thanksgiving, the first time ever. So, then we had some kids that were traveling during that time. But one thing that we made sure that we did is we just tried to keep that family atmosphere going, spending time doing some team building outside of basketball. But the good thing about this time of year too, the semester's almost up. So, I mean, we are grinding in the classroom. The kids are making sure that they got their grades to be eligible for the next semester. So it's a key time. It's kind of a catch-22 because you're kind of, it's about to slow down, but you still got business to take care of before. The kids are on the countdown, but you can't be on the countdown as a coach. You got to keep on trying to get something out of them every day and just keep it going till you can get a break yourself.
It's certainly a busy time of the year for any coach on any level.
Absolutely.
I mean, and you just hit on it. Yeah. I mean, but you got to really be organized, just like you want your team organized. You as a coaching staff got to really be organized.
Got to be so intentional with what your plan is every day. You got to find different ways to challenge them. And, this time of year, we might mix it up. We'll come in, got a couple scout team guys in referee jerseys, and it's what we're doing for practice today. We're playing a game. You just got to do some things that are different to just break up the monotony while like Bart talked to us about is the monotony is what makes us great though, right? Those things, those routines every day, they make us great, but you just got to find that. You got to find that happy medium.
As the second largest intercollegiate athletic association in the country, the NJCAA serves not only a pivotal role in college athletics, but in higher education. The NJCAA Foundation aims to move the association forward through resources, grant programs, and other special initiatives. Your gift to the NJCAA Foundation will make a difference and create opportunities.
Back with Jeff Allen, head women's basketball coach at Collin College in Plano, Texas. Jeff's off to a 9-0 record, number 2 in the national poll recently. Jeff, we're delighted to have you on the show today of Hot Hoops. And we're going to fire some questions off at you. And we know you're playing today. You got Blinn, I believe, today. Do you not?
Yes, we do.
Okay. And that's your second go around with Blinn then, aren't you? You played them like a week and a half ago or so?
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago. We were down at Blinn, which is always a tough place to play.
Agreed.
But yeah, it'll be our round 2. Should be a good one.
So when I watched you early in the Jamboree, the one thing that I noticed about a few teams that play in the Jamborees, like Southern Idaho, Salt Lake City, and yourself, seem to be ahead of the curve, so to speak, in your preparation. You seem to be kind of clicking on all cylinders early. Is there some magic formula that you got going on down there at Collin, or is it just my happening to think that I'm watching something different, or what? Fill me in.
I think this year, more than most, we have our key players back. So they're used to what we do and the preparation that goes into it early. With our freshmen coming in, I think their IQ was such that they wanted to learn and soak it up and watch film. And, our workouts, whether in the preseason, right up to the Jamborees, we film everything. So we do a lot of film work and prepping our kids and getting, attention to the details and those kind of things that, we let them play free a little bit too. If you notice how we play, and if you can just every pass, every ball movement, player movement, make the right reads. Are you going to make mistakes? Yes, but let's get the spots, sprint the spots, take what the defense is going to give you, and I think giving them that freedom, it allows them to learn a little quicker than if they're playing so tight all the time. And it's kind of, we give them that freedom to make mistakes to learn.
Understood. I also, we've been dwelling since our first show on the strength of guard play. Kind of elaborate on your strength of your guards.
I think the strengths of our guards is they play with a chip on their shoulder. Obviously, they're skilled. I mean, we have 3 really good returners in Kenny Archibald, Mackenzie Buss, and Wyatt Jennings. All 3 are different types of players, which I think kind of makes it difficult for a lot of opponents to be able to shut down all 3. And it's not just shutting them down scoring wise. They're all playmakers that kind of help us, make plays for the others within what we do, which I think makes us offensively pretty hard to defend at times, just because there's you know, it's kind of like, yeah, you can have a really good guard and all she can do is shoot it, or you got a really good guard and all she can do is penetrate it. I think all three of these players that we have that are returners have a little bit of everything combined. They may do one thing better than the other, but I think that kind of gives you a mix of everything that can be thrown out at you.
Yeah, I think they really play well together.
And they all three guard. I mean, they play both ends of the floor, which I think is huge.
Yeah.
Yeah, when looking at your numbers for your team, like everything looks pretty balanced. You have a lot of different people that contribute. And then your guards really do a good job of getting up, putting a lot of pressure. And then the amount of points that you're getting off of the turnovers that they're creating is pretty huge too, right?
Very huge. I mean, we talk about that daily, that we want to make our defense part of our offense. And getting those transition points, I think, is just another key point to what we're trying to do.
Yeah. Coach, you've been at Collin now for 20 years, and I've kind of, you know, just watched your teams over the year. We competed against you guys. You know, 20 years is a long time to stay somewhere. Tell us why you've just decided to invest and stay strong and just build this strong program that you've built there.
Well, I think you have a great college setting here. The location is like anything else, is, you know, you buy real estate, location. I think we have a great location to really pull kids from and, you know, get them on campus, and recruiting tools for that. And we're starting to get a really good foundation of being able to give kids scholarships. And when I first got here 20 years ago, the scholarships were, you know, non-existent per se, and it's slowly been building up, and you can tell if you go back and look at where our records are kind of started to grow. There was more support financially that kind of helped be able to bring in student athletes that we needed to compete.
Yeah, that's awesome. So when you're recruiting these student athletes and you're selling your team, you're selling your package, what is it that you sell to your recruits that your program is going to be known for? What is the one thing when they leave Collin County that they're going to take away with them that's going to be beneficial for their game and for the rest of their life?
Well, I think basketball is the game where you teach life lessons, right? They go hand in hand as far as what we do. So I think the culture we have here is, you know, I think the word family is kind of thrown out there a little bit, but like when we recruit kids, we'll bring them in. We have our players recruit those kids. And I think past players will do the same thing. Like we'll have certain players that we've had, you know, that they'll come in, like international players. You know, Wyatt Jennings didn't just come over here. You know, her cousin played for me. So the players, I think, will recruit players if they have the right experience and they feel that this is a place that they can grow. So we do a lot of, like, when kids come on campus, we don't throw the bells and whistles out. We sit them down. Hey, this is what we offer. This is what we're about. And then we go ahead and allow them to go meet the team. And I never talk to the team about, hey, we got recruits coming in. You know, let's talk about this, this, and this. We'll say, hey, we have a recruit coming in. Will you show them around? Let them ask questions. You answer it honestly, because that's what it's going to be like when you get here. So we put a big premium on our former players and current players to recruit or help recruit based on their experiences.
Yeah. That's
No
awesome.
sugarcoating. I like it.
Well, once you get here, I think that's the one thing that a lot of people, you know, and I fight this with some of our players that are going on to the next level. Some players are like, I got to go D1, coach. I got to go D1. Well, is it the right fit? And so, you know, you get kids that go for the wrong reasons. We want kids to come here and they know already up front, this is what you're going to get. And so there is no shell shock once they get here.
Yeah, I think just to allude on one of your players in particular, Mackenzie Buss. Of the players that I've seen throughout junior college this season, she's really made an advancement in her game. I know she's signed early with North Texas, but she's a little dynamo. I mean, fearless the way she competes, can score it off the dribble, can hit it deep. I mean, she's got kind of a nice package to her game, and she only stands what, 5'3", 5'4", maybe.
She's right at 5'4". Yep.
Yeah, and
That's all it takes for a good guard. That's all you need.
Right.
she's a little package now, dynamite, and but if I can allude on the other kids, I think I really love watching Kennedy Archibald play. She plays like Kenya. She plays like an accordion.
Mm-hmm.
She just has this spring to her that she just keeps going up and up and up, and got a really feathery shot. But I don't know if she's given you all that she's given you so far. Am I right, Jeff?
Well, I right now, I think she's not scoring as much as we want. But if you look, she's not a stat filler. If you go back and watch games for us, even like the Blinn game, she hit a couple key shots at Blinn. She's hit a couple key shots in games already. But it's her defense and how she moves and adjusts and help side defense. I mean, she blocks a lot of shots and makes things happen defensively that, if you look at a stat sheet, it may not blow your mind off there, but as a coach, you're sitting here, man, she changed the game because of how she guarded and how she played team defense.
Yeah, she's helping the others. She's
very much so
a piece to the machine. I get it.
Very much so.
But your Jennings kid, wow, she's really a consistent, plays fast. Kenya plays under control, a 3-level scorer. This kid's a nice player, and is from New Zealand, correct, Jeff?
That is correct. Yep.
And yeah, talking about Steady Eddie. I mean, this girl has got she fills the stat sheet like you said, but really enjoys. Seems to be a really good teammate.
She's a great teammate, great leader. She just plays because she loves the game. She doesn't care about anything else but the moment and playing and having fun doing it.
Coach, talk about your schedule a little bit. You've played some really good teams. I mean, you've played several teams out of region, I think 14. Tell me what you guys have coming up, and I know you got Blinn tonight, but just kind of moving forward, what are some games that you think are going to be key for you guys as you continue to build?
Well, I think I purposely went ahead and scheduled just a grind of a schedule. Mm-hmm. I think the last time I looked, if the Massey rankings, sometimes if you look at those, the strength of scheduling, I think we're in the top 13, 14, mm-hmm. somewhere in there. So we try to schedule top level teams. Obviously, we played Tyler twice. Mm-hmm. Kilgore's a solid team. We've got obviously Blinn twice. Murray State went to the national tournament last year. They were preseason ranked. I think they've only got one loss to Grayson. So that, and we played early, like, as you know, November 1st is when you can officially start games. We didn't have a home game until like November 21st. We were on the road the first 3 weeks, and we put our kids through a lot of travel and how to travel and do those things and do it against quality teams that are going to help us hopefully down the road.
Awesome. Well, Coach, good luck tonight. Hope you guys can keep it rolling, move on to 10-0. Luckily, you don't have to go back to Blinn. They can return the favor this time. That's a rough trip.
That's a trip.
That is.
Coach Jenkins does a great job. I have all the respect for him. He's a great guy, great coach. Does a great job. They got a great program down there.
Awesome.
Hey, junior college women's basketball in Texas is no easy ride.
I think it's one of the best.
It is. It certainly is. It's among the nation's elite, and you're right in the thick of it. Jeff, thanks for being on with us today in Hot Hoops. Enjoy the conversation, and we'll be certain to keep an eye on your team as you move forward. And hopefully we'll see you in Casper, Wyoming in March.
Let's hope. Let's hope.
Jeff
All right.
Allen, head coach at Collin College in Plano, Texas. Thanks for being on with us today, Jeff.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it.
Intensity fuels these champion student athletes to greatness. Zurich Insurance is proud to be the official provider of student athlete insurance for the National Junior College Athletic Association. Throughout the highs, we cheer along to their screams of victory. Throughout the lows, we support them through their tears of defeat. Zurich Insurance, helping student athletes play the sport they love.
Word of the day, Kenya, Dan Olson here at NJCAA Hot Hoops. What do you have for us, Kenya?
Well, we have already talked about our players, our highlighted players when we spoke to Coach Allen earlier. So we're going to just jump straight ahead and we're going to go to our questions from our viewers. All right. Coming in strong, we have some great questions this week. Number one, strongest conference/region in the country over the first month of the season.
Okay. I mean, I'd have to go with the Florida Panhandle. You know, you've got some surprise teams. You've got the Northwest, the obvious number one.
Sure.
You got Gulf Coast there. They're no surprise. But Chipola and Pensacola have surprised me thus far. They're better than I thought they were. They're playing against solid competition. My vote would be Florida Panhandle. What about you? Any thoughts?
I'll go with Florida Panhandle. Then I'm going to come back to Texas, the region 14, I think region 5, and then I'll take it out to Kansas. I think those three areas are really, really strong. But then, you know, it's crazy because you got New Mexico balling, you got, you know, it's all over the country, which is a great thing. But I think those three are tops for sure.
Yeah, I think from what are they called? The Whack Jack out in West Texas. You know,
Yep.
You've got Odessa that's on the rise.
Yep.
You always have Midland hanging out there. You've got South Plains that runs under the radar right now. But then you've got a couple of those other teams, you know, that are just there kind of lurking, you know, in Western Texas and McClellan. What's the other one? Frank Phillips, maybe, you know, where, you know, they could make a move. So there's some teams out there, but again, and you touch base with Kansas. Kansas has always been strong, you know. Hutch is a perennial, you know. Barton, Butler's no joke. They're in the top 10, and Garden City sneaking around, doing pretty good with a new coach there, you know. So you've got some teams that, and again, we talked about Dodge and spoke with the Dodge coach in our last show. So, but my vote right now, Florida Panhandle.
All right.
Yeah.
So this kind of leads to question number 2. Biggest surprise team or teams out of the gate?
Okay.
The most.
Yeah. I mean, I would think that it's probably Odessa's got to be up there. And not Trinity Valley. I mean, the things that Trinity Valley has pulled off so far with 7 players is pretty miraculous, to be quite honest.
Yeah.
So they're very good. The other team that's kind of forgotten out of this whole thing is Three Rivers. Now, Three Rivers may have gotten beat, but they only got beat by a couple of points, recently, but they've got a solid program. They went into the tournament a couple of years ago, number 1 in the poll, and they didn't do so well, but he's got a nice team there at Three Rivers, and they're going to be there, I think, when it comes down to it at the end. And maybe his best team he's ever had there, Alex Week's team. So
I've been impressed with College of Southern Idaho.
Yeah,
they've come in, they've played some people, had a couple of losses, but they've played a good schedule. And New Mexico Junior College, they've played some people. So, it's been a lot of teams that the ones that stick out to me, like we've talked about, the ones that get in there and roll around and don't try to hide,
Right.
So,
and of course, we can't forget about Collin County, who we just had on. I mean, they're number 2 in the poll this week.
Yep.
And they got it moving in the right direction.
That's right.
I have to say, of my times watching practices games, that I didn't allude to in our conversation with Jeff Allen, was he does a tremendous job in his preparation with his practice settings.
Yeah.
They're not long practices, but they're filled with information and they're really organized. So him and his staff, hats off. They really have done a good job. So they would be included in that question. No,
absolutely. Absolutely. All right. For our final question, what team or teams outside of the current top 10 is positioning themselves to make a strong second half and might be a contender for a title?
Well,
the Valley.
Be a loaded question, but I think somebody like Eastern Florida State, I think they've dropped out of the poll.
They're 23, but they're going to come back hard. Yeah, I agree.
Because she's got all the pieces.
Yep.
She's got it's a process for her, you know. And I mean, she would probably be the one team that I think that's down toward the bottom that will continue to make progress and move north on that poll.
Right.
I would think also probably maybe South Georgia Tech. I don't know where they are in the poll this week. I haven't looked, but they've got some pieces there too. That they've got a new coach. They're probably figuring it out, but they've been a perennial powerhouse, you know, among the JUCO top 20, and I think they'll probably figure it out toward the end there. But you know, there would be two of the teams that I think would be someone to keep an eye on as we move forward.
Yep, I agree. I agree. That's all we got for this week. So make sure you guys continue to send the questions in and we will pick our top 3 every week.
Awesome. Don't forget, ESPN Plus is carrying all the national tournament games as we approach March 26th in Casper, Wyoming at the Ford Wyoming Center. That's where the Division I national tournament's going to be played. And we're happy to have ESPN Plus carrying all those games. So until next week, Kenya, great job. And Dan Olson, we'll look forward to hearing back from you and seeing you next week on NJCAA Hot Hoops.
See you guys.